Everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Lifting. Today's recording is being done on 3/31/24, Easter Sunday, apparently. So, in this instance, this is more impromptu. That's how some of the better episodes have been done in my opinion, because if you don't plan it as much, you tend to be less susceptible to some of the things we're going to talk about. Obviously, somebody out there knew we were going to discuss some of these bullet points. You've heard some of this before in the past anyway, but there's more additions to this subject. Uh, so um, with that said, we can now open the circle to true benevolence with no conflicting agendas as of this moment in time. So, Joanna?
We are all one, and when one is harmed, all are harmed, and when one is helped, all are helped. Therefore, in the name of who I am, and I am one with all there is, that only the highest good be done. We pray for you, your friends, your family, your loved one, to let healing energies in. Let them love you and nourish you and bring you to your highest good. We ask benevolence to come in now, benevolence with no conflicting agenda, to come in and support this conversation and to listen to it as well, to be able to get anything of interest out of it that you feel will work well within your life. We ask again for galactics from past friends and families who are now in spirit to please come in and help shoo away any mischievous beings or malevolence that does not want this conversation to be had. And with that, and with our great blessings to all of you, we say, so be it.
Yeah, so be it. Now, I'm going to go into a little bit of this, and a friend of mine said it was okay to mention in this particular thing in generalities as well that was happening to them. This falls under the Nebelwerk conversation again, as we were mentioning before, the transmorphing from a particular not susceptibility to a non-susceptibility. But there's this huge catharsis that happens in between, and you can reference that video. But this goes under the creepy thoughts category, what I'm about to say. This happened to this person as well, that I mentioned in that video, and it was also mentioned in a World of Sasquatch video as well. With this, there is a concept of creepy thoughts that go into people's heads. You've heard me talk about narratives. You've heard me talk about voice to skull. You've heard me talk about telepathic and psionic attacks. And that was also mentioned in GIC as well. This specifically refined area is more of a degenerated form of attack. Draco are usually responsible for this particular area. You know the depressive thoughts, you know the hateful anger, all of these type of things. Ghouls / Neanderthals can do this too. But you have this is a very creepy section, and I'll just get right to it. And you know it's coming from the outside when this happens. I felt this during when my friend and I spoke. He could pick up that there was something affecting the left side of my head, and that I was getting these creepy thoughts. This goes from sexual circle to rape to incestuous to outright anger, hatred, and it goes. That's those are the standard ones. What people don't understand is there will be this telepathic thought train try to put you on this path, and this has happened to, we'll just say, some generic celebrity figures. I will never mention the name on any live or taped show, just so you know. This is take somebody that's normally good and try to integrate them into this satanic Luciferian program by which then they want to hurt children or enter into the pedophilia rings like these particular adrenochrome-ish type people are. With that said, this is in the ether. There is a butterfly effect involved as well. This falls under the psionic dampening, dumbing category, and this also falls under the Nebelwerk. And the Nebelwerk portion of the conversation is you become not susceptible to this, and you have bypassed the program. The susceptibility range can range from very little to a lot, and you just think, oh, it's your own thought, it's your own imagination, but that's how the telepathy enters, is through one of those mediums. That said, you can sit there and not think about it all you want, and it just continues and go on and on and on and on. You start to form an immunity to this, but at the same time, they try to get you to lose it. They try to get you to even commit suicide over it because they want the soul energy. Or if you happen to, you happen to come back like this friend of mine did, it kicks in the Nebelwerk process. That also said, anytime that I've had these thoughts enter my head from it was usually the left side of my head because I had a susceptibility from the SSP because it was an implant that was put there, then to be able to slowly morph a person over into what the Martian Germans wanted. They want heartless, they want disgusting, they want their own narcissistic viewpoint to take hold. One great example is there was somebody else I read that I had spotted in the SSP. This person was a doctor there. They would perform little mini false flag operation after another with this person to see if he was either had a very compassionate side, like you'd expect from a doctor, or to kill that side and basically become unempathetic. When he was too empathetic, they punched and try to beat that out of him. The Draco, what they do is they will convince you that those thoughts that you're thinking are your own. If any of you are coming up from any range of it, from what I've said, from the sexual to the incestuous to the hateful to the just the regular anger, but it is overblown. It's some kind of ghoulish figure on the outside doing it. Also, this type of thing coincided with also some military activity as well. I did little recordings on this as well, the logs that I did. This coincided with some voiced skull, like Spirit was pegging the we had a series of synchronicities happen, was pegging a military source for this as well. That would be Martian German. But the Draco, which also associated with Martian German, would then begin to slowly acclimate your from through millimeters and centimeters over to that particular way that they want somebody to be able to participate in their rituals, participate in hurting children, participate in doing all of these things. And it happens so gradually that then all of a sudden you are not the same person by which you were before. This can happen in a good way too, where you become better and then your past self is actually the degenerated form or lesser than what you would be now. Say if you went ahead in time to a different temporal frequency where there's another version of you on either a different timeline or concurrent, wouldn't that look like a different person? Because therefore you've expanded your perceptions and perspectives and perceptions. Imagine if that went the other way, whereas you slowly start to degenerate and de-evolve. You see this with some I won't go into the whole adrenochrome conversation, it's not relevant, but where some were then accused of pedophilia, accused of this, accused of that, and you go, wait a minute, I didn't expect this from this person. If you didn't know that person well enough as you thought they would, you were not comprehending that kind of evil being in your presence, or they changed from a good thing into a degenerative evil thing. That said, this is the same program that's out there. The military and all them propagate it through knowing that it's in the butterfly effect and the inner source energy, because things save. When you've thought of something, it saves. Like you come up with an idea, it comes up here. It's that type of effect. It's a matter of the energetic physics. They take advantage of this by also propagating that not only through what you see here, like meme magic or mimetic magic, but by constantly repeating shit over and over again. That said, they can actually do that in the head over and over and over again and get the molecules and the brain space to actually enter that continuous thought pattern. This is what monks do. This is what Tibetan monks do when they're trying to keep the mind occupied, when they're trying to enter the meditative space. They run it through simple tasks, like you see them breaking dirt, or you see them doing some simple thing to try to keep the mind from running amok. That said, there's the phrase out there, idle minds is the devil's workshop. This is exactly it. When you are not entering into your creative space, you leave room for that program to try to invade it. And you've heard me talk about narratives. I'm not going to go into that whole thing. Again, you can watch previous videos that we've done on the narratives in the mind. And also the voices in the head, the voices skull, the music in the head, music programming, all that stuff. But this was a more refined, more specific thing that even when you've beaten it, they'd still try to get the echo. and they echo. And they try to just basically like Chinese water torture. Boom, 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 drip, drip. And then it's totally gone and you're free of it. When and they'll try to anchor to this friend of mine found an attachment here that got pulled. There was a galactic we were dealing with that was concerned about something. And I was also hearing things like the Moonlight Sonata and all that in my head that's associated with the programs. They were using that as an anchor weakness to try to bring in this prolific program. This is why you hear about the whole trans and kids thing, all this other stuff, because it's associated with this cultist activity that then they are propagating it through the energy and through the ethers and through the technology. And also who created this crap? Ryan's draconian, mainly also reptilian brain. So in basically the Draco. So this is what's going on. They're not. Also the Galactics want to make this clear. Draco are not an empire. They are a scattered group of homeless. Basically, their word was turds, but basically I said sulfur stinking cat piss smelling lizards. I basically called it, and they laughed. But I'm just saying they wanted to tell wanted everybody to know that these creatures are not a cohesive empire like they used to be. Not that they ever were. Okay, thank you. But I'm just pointing that out. So that was my contribution to this. I call this creepy. This section creepy thoughts. I know you had another section you wanted to add to this. Another thought train you wanted to add to this.
I think, first of all, let's just acknowledge that this is a very difficult conversation to have because.
And it's not you, it's them.
Well,
so,
again, I mean, you take thoughts that, again, when you're watching TV, when you're watching things, and you may see some of the subject matter coming through, and then you normally will sometimes think about it because of the fact that, boy, I don't understand it. This is wrong. This is right. What do I think about it?
I wanted to understand it, therefore it was shown to me. Sometimes you have to experience how it is being transmitted to understand it.
Well, and again, it may not be something that you yourselves are on a day-to-day basis thinking of, but what's being shoved out there for discussion amongst the media, amongst the, what are you learning about? Of course, everyone's hearing about the pedophilia and rings being whatever. So in the course of human events, these subject matters then are coming up. Jeffrey Epstein and that whole thing. These subject matters are coming up. And so it will be normal for you to think about them. And then, it's usually normal for decent people to think, I don't even understand how somebody can think that way, right? And all of this stuff begins to happen. And then there is an entryway into your brain, basically, to be able to take this and put it on hyperdrive so that you don't know that maybe I'm a sicko too, or maybe I'm something that I'm really not.
This is where the consent thing comes in, folks. Yes, they don't need it to break into your thoughts, but they do need it to transform you in that way.
But again, and so the confusion, I can't stress enough the goal of being utter confusion in your own mind. This kind of mental abuse and mental stuff is how they break people down to have different personalities, one for here, one for there. And again, you start to lose your mind. What is me and what is not me? Again, going back to
confusion,
going back to the discussion that we've had from the very beginning when we started all this, how important it is to know who you are so you know what you are not. I think more and more people are becoming accepting to the fact that these types of energies and these competing dualistic type of energies are out there, in the world, things that are benevolent, things that are maybe more malevolent and self-serving. And the goal, again, is that something that is controlling and malevolent and self-serving certainly wouldn't want people to rise in their abilities to be able to push it away, right? Because then it loses its whole function. And so, it's a natural kind of course of events when you have these dualities. And I think more people are accepting that people are coming into this world with different some people will use the word psychic abilities, some people use the word psionic abilities. It's basically the same thing, coming in with more abilities, that being hooked into this body and spiritually, as a spiritual being, being able to work this body better, that the perceptions and things that you can do can it be more. And again, you have people with different genomic abilities that can contribute to it happening more now, or you're in a way of evolving that maybe some of that hasn't cut on yet because you're still working on some other sort of genomic things that you're upgrading within your body before you get there. But we've said this for a very long time, that the human DNA skin suit is very special. You have no idea about the capacity of being able to do things, and the capacity, once all of this starts working together, of the co-creative skills. But right now, your co-creative skills are being hijacked by somebody else, and you don't even recognize it yet.
This is actually very synchronistic. I won't mention again names of insiders or anything, that you will not hear us name dropping anymore. But there was a very interesting point that was made by a video we were watching yesterday. This is synchronistic to what I've been saying, where demonic entities cannot co-create the same as you. There was an insider that was saying Draco, them being reptilian, do not have the aspect of plane involved. Therefore, they would not be as strong psionically as a human would become. This goes both with the whole Matrix thing. They will never be as strong or as fast as you. That was essentially AI. That's also Draco oriented as well, meaning we have the ability as a mammalian to be able to play. They do not. Therefore, we have the home field advantage psionically. Therefore, we know how to decompress. We know how to enjoy things. We know how to laugh. They're not quite like that. And other reptilian species would object to what was said. This is Draco specific. This is basically saying the old stories of demons not being able to co-create, so they need to hijack your creative abilities to co-create for them, like a meat puppet, essentially. That's why they have meat puppets, folks, because they know that humans are stronger. Therefore, if they control the puppet, the puppeteer controls the puppet, they control the energy.
So we've been saying that for quite many years now. Again, in the understanding that humanity and the human consciousness and the human development is starting to learn about these things, and we're in a learning phase right now. We're not in a we have mastered anything kind of phase, and we'll continue to do so again, with humans coming and being born and having their experience on this earth at all different levels of it. So, the goal, you may be having certain experiences that no other members of your family are having, again, because you are specific to your soul's genetic, hooking into a human skin suit and cutting it all on, letting those two things weave together, and then see what you can do. And so that kind of thing is really going on. I find this conversation interesting. It always goes back to some of the basics that we've always said. Know yourself, so you know what isn't you. You must learn how to discern. You must learn how to protect yourself in your ways. And again, some of the things that we have done throughout the year, and we've experimented throughout the year, are how do you get yourself and make your space as safe as possible, with things like even that symbol that is right there, right? That and everything that we've been trying to work with. How can we create, again, a mandala or something that actually helps to aid in some of these things? How do we create things that will aid in an energy that pushes back on some of this other stuff coming in to interfere, so that you can work and develop those skills and work on yourself? And, we continue to, do things like that as well. I've always said, and many times over, that I hope 150 years from now, some of the things that were created are in a museum somewhere saying this is what they needed back then, but we've moved beyond that now. So a lot of people are benefiting from some of these things. It's giving them the peace they need to move on. But there is an intense goal out there to confuse, to cause all this, so that you don't work on your discernment skills, so that you are extremely confused and don't know what's going on, so that you are more vulnerable to attacks and different things. Again, and those attacks can be subtle, but they're definitely going to keep you from expanding. All of these things are out there. And again, It's not that humanity is helpless to this, but acknowledges power. If you know that this stuff is going on and you are experiencing it, then what are you going to do to actually be able to grow through it anyway? And that's kind of really some of the things that we've highly talked about. The specifics of the ugliness of some of these thoughts, again, they are intentional. They will keep you from talking about it. You will start to think that it is who you are, and it is intentional because that's how they can individually kind of break an individual down. So you have to understand these things are happening. On a bigger note, and again, part of this will go into probably when Chris starts to channel, is I find it quite interesting on a whole nother subject matter that you think it's not related, but it is. When you talk about these thoughts that are going through your head and what you're willing to accept normally and what you're not willing to accept normally, how it affects even bigger pictures and ideas of how humanity is supposed to steer forward and whatever, and how it affects you. So some of this conversation, I think we're going to move forward with. And I specifically, let's just go to the big ticket item that everyone wants to talk about. We've had questions on this, and it has to do with how do you go about, giving disclosure? What are the plans for things like that? And we've heard a multitude of things. We've even asked the Galactics and heard a multitude. So again, how
Opinions vary on how it should happen.
of course they're going to vary, but in consideration of what are you willing to let occur? What is an acceptable loss? What is an acceptable this, that, and the other in this conversation? And again, what my personal opinion is that this energies and these thoughts and these streaming ends of people, again, probably they're not thinking they're susceptible to them, but they are susceptible to
And they
them.
don't recognize
And they may not recognize that some of this is going on because some of the thought processes that are coming through don't necessarily make sense. And we'll get into this discussion a little bit more here in a bit. So just kind of expanding how this little thought bubble of getting into your head can start to expand in ways that then drive how you act and what you promote. And so I think it's an interesting discussion that will continue here when whomever wants to participate with it wants to participate.
And also certain simple things that you think are even you. Sometimes there was a person one time, and I've used this as an example. There's two things. One was to myself when I was in Arizona earlier on, pre-accident time frame. That would put it in 2008-9, where I had these thoughts going on my head of extreme homesickness, and I didn't know what was going on. I was like, no, this is not me. What the hell's going on? And there were negative hauntings and stuff on the property, and there was aliens that came and went too that were enhancing and this rub of energy, this wound, because they were thriving on it. Certain demonic entities and whatnot were thriving on it. What happened in the end was there was this roommate that we had that was always sick. We were thinking it was the energy doing it too from a murder suicide that took place. Saw zombie-like ghosts. The kids saw zombie-like ghosts and stuff there, and eventually it got resolved. But what ended up happening was this: when this roommate left, he was planning on leaving and backstabbing us and not paying for stuff and everything. What happened was he leaves. Energy clears. It went with him. It was, and all the thoughts went with him. He was psionically generating this so harshly that it was imprinting this fear onto everybody else. But he was, again, becoming the meat puppet for draconian garbage that also caused the murder-suicide, where I saw, even saw a ghost of a child being thrown in the pool where it rippled the water one night. I thought the kids had gotten out. Another one was this zombie-looking ghost of a man that you could literally touch. In those scenarios, those people were meat puppets to the very same thing that caused the roommate to be a meat puppet, to the same demonic entity that was there for decades, since like the 60s or 70s. This was a draconian entity doing the same thing, hijacking somebody to be. That's why I say meat puppet. puppet because they can't do some of the things the human can. So therefore, they are getting that back via that way. Just like you had an example in Earth Final Conflict, one of the Talons took over a human. They couldn't do it. They went into the human and noticed there was a broader range of things they could do. And they took on some human DNA and noticed again, there was a broader range. This is why some Ebens go insane when they take on human DNA. Second example was a woman was standing in line at McDonald's and had her order in her head, like people normally do there. And then, but she also was thinking of something else, going, no, wait a minute, I don't want that. The guy ahead of her in line ordered his food, rattle off exactly what was in her head, was picking up on that psionic field, and thought it was her going, but she had the wherewithal to go, wait a minute, that's not me. That's what you need to do. That may seem like a dumb example, but you got to recognize when you're picking this up empathically from other humans too, because you're strong psionically. You got to get out of your head that you don't have any power, like the Vulcans in Star Trek. They were considered the telepathic or the mind meldish ones were considered to be almost like a religious sect at first, and and were shunned. It was like a disgusting practice to them. Then later on, it was found out that every single one of them had that capability. It was just suppressed. That they could learn it. You could learn these psionic abilities, and that's true. Some lineages bring it in stronger than others. Others, then also you can learn it and then pass it on to your descendants as well. That's how that happens. You can build this up. It can be learned, just like you can learn to filter that out. So, of course, you need the attributes and the accoutrements that we've all talked about in the past. This is not the episode for that, but I'm just saying some of the resolutions are shadow work within, orgone, and symbol pieces outside. So, I think I've gone on long enough with that. So now it is. Now I have not asked who it was that was actually going to talk. Is it Isaac? Or probably Isaac, but let me see. Is there? I know you're waving, Isaac, but is there anybody else? Anybody else? No. Okay. You're it. Okay. Tag, you're it. Okay. Give me a second here. Oh, okay. Hmm. Benevolent Isaac. Nobody else. Hmm. I can give you a second. Come on. All right. Psionic interference. There's like, okay. Yeah, I know there was some creepy stuff that happened on the land within the last 24 hours. So I know there's some this disruption there. I know. Hold on. All right. Okay, Isaac, can you make sure the computer doesn't have a meltdown? Thank you. All right. No, the computer will not have a meltdown because I am present. So, well, technically, I'm almost always present, but uh, it does this because of energy outputs and input output overload of memory and of environmental confusion. It's like trying to flush an oversized turd down a toilet. Of course, it will get clogged. Or psionically, the psionic field will affect the computer. By the way, hint, 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 will clog a brain in the same way with thoughts that are not your own. You can get these confusions and entanglements from anywhere on the planet, even residuals and ghosts and all these other things from the paranormal field. They say paranormal like it's abnormal, but it is the most normal thing that is more normal than what you consider to be normal. So, with that said, psionic fields can clog both technology and brain alike, especially when you have, hint, hint, somebody who is extremely psionically capable around the pieces of technology, like, say, a nose hair trimmer, burnout. the power tool, burnout, computer. This is not just external, but it is the people that are close by. There used to be somebody in the projects they called Mr. Unlucky. Whenever he went near a computer, they would do stupid crap. Therefore, they had him not be around it. They got sick of their computer hard drives burning up, and they said, "Go away, you're unlucky," and therefore the nickname stuck. Some people are genetically predisposed with that energy resonance. You can fix that and clear that to where technology, he's always said he eases technology into the energy he's really meaning, or now I'm telling him he's meaning the psionic field. Some people's psionic field can interfere more than others with other humans and technologies. Also, the forest people have shown him where they can disrupt cameras and technology. They've had that focus so people don't film them without their permission. Like they even know when an AI is looking at them and can mess with the tape and mess with the recordings. That is a psionic field, you say. This can actually affect everything around you. See, now the computer is not running like a weed whacker. So therefore, I have cooled the psionic field that is around because he gets uppity when the computer does a thing, but it's doing a thing because he's getting uppity. You see the thing? So it's actually a catch-22. Your energy doing the thing, therefore the thing is doing the thing, therefore you are doing the thing, and it goes into an infinity loop.
And this is kind of this is great because I know this is related obviously to Chris and his frustrations, but it's a generalization as well to what's happening to people when they don't realize their energies and what they're doing and how important it is for, to stay calm and to, there is a purpose of trying to kind of calm some of that down because you don't realize what it's doing to things around you that you don't want to happen, but you are contributing to it happening.
Yes, it's just like the story of the forest people with the Tibetan monks in the temple. Even though they were in their halom or calm state, the monk was still having a hard time because of that psionic and energetic frequency field. You see, it was at such a faster moving rate, even in the calm state, they were feeling it. Let alone if the forest people had spoken or yelled. It's like the character Black Bolt when he spoke, people died, kind of thing. It's essentially like that, or like you heard on that show. I'm not going to mention the name. Like you heard that one person be accused of when you yell, people pee. It's that kind of thing. So think of that as an analogy: giant person, giant energy, blah, psionic field.
Right.
So you can affect other humans, rattle their energies to where they are paralyzed, kind of like in your Skyrim game where it had the thum of the voice or blah, and you could stun somebody. It's the same identical premise. Giants had more of this, Neanderthals had this, Titans had this, and humans are a roll of the dice of all of them. So therefore, you have inherited these abilities too.
And again, and as we've said, we're a work in progress. We're learning about this stuff now. We're learning the interactions. We're learning and then kind of be able to grow to be able to maneuver within it better. And so, Chris isn't the only one that has this problem. I'm sure there's emotional times when I'm doing it as well. And, everybody has to understand that this is just what goes on and we have to kind of work on it to make our lives how we want them to roll. So in this discussion, I was trying to figure out here, thinking how to have this discussion in a way where to give greater understanding to what I guess my question is that I feel there truly is a lot of confusion around this discussion of an appropriate way to move humanity forward in this disclosure. We've talked about it before, the disruption of religious belief systems and all of this different things going on. But when I look at what I feel are, again, these incoming fields that are messing with everybody's mind, that I keep wondering, some of the considerations that aren't being given. And I think they're being swept aside to not consider things on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the couple of things before I speak about that I just want to kind of check off the box on my understandings of how things are are a couple of things. The one thing about our planet, our who we are, is the one thing that we've always said is that we're not, yes, we may be a lot of us sharing a human skin suit form, but we're not all of the same race. Like the Intumbans came, and you've got a lot of Asian people going on. You have, the Anunnaki that got involved and also created. You're talking about natural, maybe Neanderthals and things that were here, Titans that were here.
Natural.
Well, as natural as we think.
Titans are the only natural ones.
Right. So, and then you're talking about, again, the Dogon tribes and people that came that were, so what we're actually talking about our planet and where it sits as a nexus point and how it, interacts within the solar system. The differences are, again, my understanding in general, this is again just an in general statement, is if you go to other planets, you're not normally seeing so many different galactic cultures in one place. You're normally seeing one particular race that has adopted that planet, and that's who's there. You agree with that statement, right?
Yes, what works for some of these other worlds, such as the creepy thoughts. I might add, this is part of this whole propagandic thing, like you've been hearing, brought to you by the commander of understatement. But I will not get into that. I'm just saying, these tactics that were being mentioned, say your fake alien invasion, or this tactic will work here to weed out this particular thought pattern. Numbers on paper may seem like they work, but you have often seen what is in theory often does not translate to in practice. This is an awful idea because on other planets, certain things may have worked and may have had a screaming success, but what they don't say is people still dead, people still tormented, people still have PTSD, people still have to work that virus out of the DNA for generations, people still have to do these things. The galaxy in chaos? Yes. Why, you ask? This crap. By a Brainiac Senate that does not have touch with the reality in which they are affecting. They play the numbers like the version of them that was not only seen in Star Wars that was easily susceptible to the Emperor, but the version of them from the Green Lantern movie that said we have to weigh the costs and weigh things and decisions over millions of years. One planet does not necessarily matter in that equation. We do galactic things. Lost touch with reality. What works on one planet will not work for the next. There is not a cookie cutter.
Well, and the premise right off the bat is wrong because this particular planet isn't a single race group of people with a single genetics.
Descendants of many groups of colonists that have forgotten they have come from the galaxy.
Right. So first off, that whole premise of how it's worked elsewhere is, first of all, not identical to what's going on here. First off the bat. Second off, what I find is interesting is that the word and what you mean by it. So, what is, it's one thing to say, what is humanity? Well, hello, and you may have an Asian one or whatever. But when you talk about this planet and you talk about all of the ones that consider it home, then you have to change your terminology to be inclusive of everything. Some people can use the word terrestrial as being an example of a word that is inclusive of not just humanity and the different races, but then you've got, let's just bring the ones we know, right? The Sasquatch, the Agarthans, what I mean? All of the different races that are here in different, let's just say, little layers, that all of this decision affects more than just the humans, unless some sort of plan's been in place that we're only going to deal with humans and not the rest of you, which I find is, I don't believe, but I just flat out don't believe it. But I find it very interesting because, again, I don't know about other worlds, and we consider this kind of a nesting doll with different people on the same spot. Mm-hmm. It's been said to us before that That is an interesting, unique thing here. Is it not unique? Does it happen on all these other planets, or is this something really unique here?
There is a uniqueness. It has been attempted before. There were other colonies that were also nexus nesting doll openings. They tried before and it didn't exactly work. There was also experiments that were run before that also did say the melting of your borders. They also, like what you see, the New World Order. Other planets have one world governments because they're one people already. Uh, this was a natural progression. This was not natural. These were multiple colonies that set up shop here. You're dealing with the descendant lineages of multiple cultures, multiple races, and some of them just stood back just to look at it and say, see what happens. Uh, they don't even know what an actual outcome would look like. They know what they have dealt with before. Very uncreative boobs. So you see, like humanity will bring creativity to the table. Other races are creative. Other races favor you. So, but the ones that are not creative are the stingy. Think of some Smithsonian professor that does things his own way for centuries, for decades and decades. Now apply that to centuries and centuries of some scholarly person that wears the same clothes, the same shoes, the same pair of socks, same underwear. We'll add doesn't shower on top of that, and has the same teachings. But yet somebody deviates from that. What are these academic douchebags do? They stomp on them, they make fun of them, they ridicule them. Now, add humanity into the mix where some people are automatically defying that authority. What would that look like in the galaxy? Some don't want this. They know what would happen if humans got in the galaxy. They would change the very fabric of the Galactic Federation. They do not want this. So, what do they want? They want cookie cutter, business as usual. Therefore, your fire is stamped out.
So it's an interesting thing again.
Creepy thoughts included in this to make it so people kill themselves by killing themselves.
I agree, and we're going to get specifically to that in a minute. But I just want to bring up one period of time that pretty much has already been attempted to be completely erased. That actually showed different cultures in unity, which is more of that the Tartarian unity that was going on at one point that literally has been obliterated from history.
That was a natural, say, federation, as it were, a natural form or an organic form of coming together. And Enlil and others went, no, like what was said on your Tartarian videos, said, no, we will do it this particular way and in this non-organic way or how we want. Now, fast forward to your Martian Germans, the new Schwabenlander retards. They do this in this particular way. They want their way no matter what. They are the ruling class. They are the master race kind of crap. And I love how he just calls them Hans and Franz all the time, the two commanders, how he characterized them. They even on Mars, back in the time he was there, were planning simulations of this fake alien invasion. So what your person, I'll just say, said was not totally false, where they would hire a bug race to do this. Now, the problem with this is to hire somebody out in the open would have to be legal. This system is considered to be wild, wild west, not governed like you see in your strange new worlds, where they would not, the Federation wouldn't help non-aligned worlds from the Gordon invasions and stuff like that. It is very similar. Also how the Federation was just allowing something so that they didn't touch them. They're your Kabbalists to do this, but allowing somebody in here to do this, then somebody else would have to come rescue, like what was said. Bad move. Other races in this instance wouldn't allow this. They would see this as a violation of some treaties or our treaties that are aligned with Earth that the Martian Germans would be breaking the laws of, including, I might add, the creepy thoughts. One, I know telepathy isn't necessarily bound by these same rules because other beings, as he also said, was associated with, say, a big call center. That's not the only thing that does it, mind you. There are some people that just sit there all day and have no life and do this. Yes, I get it. But, and they, on Earth, that's what mimics it. But I will say that there would be a massive treaty violation with something like that. They say it's a way to integrate Earth to either pro-Terran or pro-invader. Bad. Also the way it worked on a couple other worlds, which it was still a bad idea because it traumatized the holy freaking hell out of the whole galaxy when stuff like that happens, is they're remembering in their own DNA, remembering how it happened hundreds of thousands of years ago, and they don't want it again. In this, and they don't want hatred from people towards bug people either. No, bad. In this, the treaty violation would be that even in a non-aligned world, Earth has a certain stipulation on it to where this tactic would not be allowed. The Mozen saw this happening decades ago and stepped in as a counterbalance. You would have somebody else step in as a counterbalance, but you still do not want anyone caught in the middle. The counterbalance thing just did not work because people were caught in the middle of this when other races tried to come in to openly do things in the past. It was decided that it was to be left alone until a certain time that it was opened up to the rest of the galaxy. This didn't have to do with personal evolution, believe it or not. This had to do with the fact that the energies would ease out, the fact that certain contracts would ease up. This also had to do with not only the receptivity of people decoding, encoding. This had to do with certain programming that would automatically run its course. You throw in a fake alien invasion, the stupid master race isn't thinking here, because people would start dying just by looking at the bugs. You do they're intentionally not putting this into account because they don't care about any of you. They care about themselves. They want the planet, they want the resources, they want their sovereignty, they want to be integrated into the overall. They want a seat on that big council because they want to be the emperor from Star Wars, because they know that Draco would be right along with them.
So it's a whole interesting conversation. So now we'll turn this conversation a little bit, and you're already doing it, to talk about where I feel that true infiltration of thought to change people in their humanity, let's say, to change them, to be willing to accept things that they should not be willing to accept.
Yes.
Again, and
you see it every day.
You see it every day. But what I would say is that if, let's just say, if those energies weren't interfering so much, not everybody, but the bell curve of people would want to just get along, would want to just respect each other, find the common ground. And that really is who this race is in general. Even if you have a different lineage coming through, in general, that truly is it. But there's so much of this other interference to cause you to not think clearly. And, again, to grow the DNA, to grow things, to be able to grow out of it. But what I say is those thoughts of something is okay when it's not. So, for example, in all of these discussions that I've had amongst different people, regarding the fact that an alien invasion needs to occur, let's just say, the question that never seems to be answered. So I'm curious if you know from watching their calculations, how many people is acceptable for them to die?
In the coldness that you were hearing some of these facts and figures, this is where this hovers around. The acceptable range of death. There should be no acceptable range of death except for the natural progression of the human skin suit. Not by any fear, butchering, murder, and or just plain evil. Nor should you allow those creepy thoughts to rewrite your soul or what your soul occupies. Think about for a second a particular vibration that the soul is not. Now, I'm not saying good, evil, or indifferent. I'm saying a certain set of coding. This is like what the vampire virus does, where soul rends. In this way, it's a slow progression, like you saw with the Borg, where they said, oh, by the time people know they're being assimilated, they're already assimilated. It's essentially that. Like you also saw the young bee people being controlled in Picard season 3. It's essentially that, where it's being transmitted planetarily. That was that was showing psionic dampening disruption in that way, mixed with Borg, all of that. And that's the other things are mixed in there, like the vaccine stuff and all that other stuff. But I'm just saying, in this, the acceptable behavior pattern of not being balanced is zero. There is no near zero like you'd expect in a scientific experiment. Like what they're saying, oh, death is near zero, meaning the near 0.1% of say 8 billion people is what? Millions of people, billions. So their near zero is an absolute unacceptable amount. The natural progression in a planet that has an overpopulation, the Earth has an overpopulation, would be to progress out into the galaxy, just like a planet giving birth. Some of the beings in the galaxy do not want this, and some do. There's even some humans from Earth living on other worlds right now, and also in the introverse. There's other species that would fight to protect this place vigorously. Now, with that said, they're near zero explanation. These are the cold brainiacs that do this. I understand where the urge to do the numbers comes from, do the calculations. That's like that Star Trek episode where they were doing just the hit point calculations and they just commit suicide so they wouldn't actually fight for real, thinking they were just the predator inside and they were just quelling that. That's retarded. In this explanation is they're essentially saying like, oh, Armageddon's going to happen anyway. We want to get to the 1,000 years of peace. And this is just a regurgitated, prematurely vomited explanation of that, or another regurgitation of, oh, we have to have Armageddon to get to the 1,000 years of peace. No, you do not. Yes, Roddenberry wrote in the Trek where you would have World War III, the eugenics wars, to teach humanity not to be a certain way. This falls, yes, there are certain situations. Yes, you had to have an Adolf Hitler so you could learn from this. Yes, absolutely yes. Now, does it have to happen a shitload more times? No, it does not. Does it have to mean that the entire planet becomes hollowed out Ukraine? No, does not mean that. You could open up to the galactic community very, very easily. Yes, there would be people. There's the other explanation Roddenberry went to where in Earth Final Conflict where people would commit suicide and choose to leave, sometimes very brutally. He showed that it happened, but it didn't happen hugely. This is exactly what would take place. There's no way around certain things. The premise behind the fake alien invasion is one thing. That means culling the society down, blending everybody into one race. So therefore, it is more acceptable and more palpable and palatable to a galactic senate who does not actually give a shit about what happens down here. This is why there are beings fighting on your behalf. I don't want to say they're saviors, but yours has needed a buffer in this.
You can't say the word culling enough. I mean, I think
it is a culling.
It is a culling. And I think that this is where people have been, by these thoughts, so desensitized to what's being said. And then who's worthy to be culled? I think that's the other question. I find it interesting because
they take the Thanos approach where they say it's by chance, it's fair, it could be anybody, anywhere, child, adult, race, old person, young person, doesn't matter. And yes, it does.
Well, except for those that consider themselves the elitists, there are the exceptions to
they have already, now you understand why they have created bunkers for themselves, castles, fortifications, vaults, everything. Either it was going to go one of two ways. They were going to do the nuclear conflict to where it culled, or you're going to do fake alien invasion. But the option of them just landing and saying hello to people was never seriously considered on the table, because the elitists wanted to then rise up out of the ashes like a retarded phoenix and start to again lord over people. They wanted to then join in with the galactic community, as like how the ICC does business with the Galactic Federation, the galactic community. Everybody's getting kickbacks. If you have a bunch of extra people around, wanting to do their own thing and wanting to be creative. No, we can't have that. So you have Mars, you have the elitist cabals, you have the ICC, you have the Galactic Federation. They wanted less people to be less confusing and to be not be what they consider to be a pain in the ass. You have, this is why I've always said in the past, you have to be a pain in the ass. You have to buck the system. You have to buck those thoughts, know who you are, ground vigorously, because the psionic dampening is what you're seeing when you see things lift you up off the ground under your feet in the energetics. It is psionic dampening that is doing it. It flows underneath your feet like a mud flood, which is a Tartarian reference, folks. In this, it lit, and then the psionics of other beings such as Draco and others take advantage of this, and they will attach hardware underneath there, so you do not ground. And then they will guilt you and say, "You're not being very grounded, are you?" You see, arsonist and fireman. In this instance, you have to know when you are not you. You have to really know. And yes, are there people that are less susceptible and more susceptible, either genomic sequence wise or not, or energetically? Yes, this will correct itself over a period of time. I'm not saying now. This balances out. It's the psionic dampening that's actually doing this. It's hitting genomic structures that are easily pushed. This works on injuries, say if there's a severe brain injury that would also prevent psionic immunity. Let's say if you were hit in the head really hard or had some kind of brain injury, you would then be slightly more susceptible. Even if you've brought, say if you had a near-death experience and brought in other information, or like himself, he brought back some of his SSP training. It does not matter. If your brain's been jarred, the susceptibility can kick in. Can you heal this? Yes, if you bring in too much SSP memories and stuff, and you pop that cork out of that bottle, that balloon, like what was said, could you brain damage your own brain and the psionic capability because something's too far out of whack? Yes. They know this secret. You mess up the brain too much, you make the person psionically susceptible. This is where the mind comes in. This is where, well, no, this is where the intuition and the soul comes in, because those energy vibrations then can heal the brain. You see, this is why toning can heal brain matter and regrow it. This is what they don't want people to learn, the meditation techniques necessary then to balance out mental and third eye and pineal gland psionic capabilities into one thing, balancing the water in your body. Not only can you unhinge yourself from the curse of Enlil, you can become more balanced and therefore not susceptible. But there are so many distractions out there, also television, also, this impending bug invasion. Ooh. This would damage your world more than you would ever want. I know people want Star Trek world. Believe me, I'm one of these people that wants this out in the open very badly, just like he does. You have to accept the fact that true organic change is slow, but not as slow as Valiant Thor wants. He's anal retentive, and he's more aligned with GF interests that would surprise you. Remember, back in the times of Eisenhower, who was it that advised him? Think about this. No, locking everyone, even though he had a different tactic in mind other than the fake alien invasion, it's still too damn slow. He's right. I'm slightly impatient with that too. But you can't jump from this world to instantly you're in Picard's time frame. It doesn't work that way. Like what he said in the show, change does not come in the time in which we think it should. But you can opt for a third option that you don't want any of these other players gambling with your fate. This is where everyone else comes in. You don't want your thoughts messed with, and you don't be who you truly are. If you do have, say, an injury or a medical condition, get it fixed. If you have situations where you feel that you're impoverished, become in a different mindset, become that the energy of the opposite of the situation you find yourself in. I know that seems simplistic, but these are often the cures to these diseases.
That, and which I completely, agree. I think what you have to think to yourself, honestly, when you're listening to all this is, again, I cannot use that word culling enough. If you are okay with a culling, is that really who you are?
Yeah, these are billions of people you're talking about here, not like a few that would have probably died anyway from shock or what have you. You're talking about maybe even a third of your population. That's unacceptable.
So you have to really think about this. And again, unless you somehow have a name in a bunker somewhere, which most of us don't, you're not guaranteed to survive anything yourself.
It's just like when the Agarthans put out signs everywhere to people. No, they wanted to save certain families from the Great Flood. Enlil wanted to eliminate literally everybody. The Tartarian World Unity did this too, where they refined the genome down to their wizarding world, which I don't blame them. There's a good aspect to this, but there's a Nazi aspect too, where they and I was around in those times too. Yes, ant people, say ant friend or Anunnaki, that translates into Hopi. But anyway, and Anastasi. But anyway, in this way, that they put little signs out directing some people underground and some people not. Yes, did some of the underground tribes see the earth is overpopulated then and they only favored certain genomes? Yes. Are they trying to do this again? Yes. So the object is you do not want Great Flood 2.0, or I should say 3.0. 4.0 if you count the mud flood. So they downgraded. But the idea is they, with these psionic disruptors, they can go the other way and become psionic amplifiers. So it's the same technology. It's like in your Doctor Who program, where Martha went around during the Master's Dark timeline, went around and told everybody to focus on the Doctor. What happened? He healed because the Master had put psionic amplifiers around the planet, those spheres that he had. This is what they look like. This is the same tech. They want people to co-create. Therefore, they're amplifying their own doom. What do you think your antennas are out there as well? This is part of the psionic dampening. This is the actual term and the actual meat of the conversation is also how much are you willing to basically declare yourself dumb? You see, this is yes, he and the forest people found the dumbing quite humorous, which I'm inclined to agree. It was actually quite funny, including the movie reference. But so I will agree with Elena on this one. Psionic dampening is the real term, but don't get locked into, oh, we're dampened, we're doomed. Oh, there's an act of God that will get all this out. Yep. No. This network is being used against you. It's linked into the binary network. What do you think is powering this? And the moon, all of this. And it's psionically dampening. You can flip that around. Co-create these devices are telepathically inclined to see. They're psionically activated, but they're activated by those that made it, like an AI becoming like its creator. You can flip it around and turn it the other direction and become an amplification of your own wants and needs. When you do this, it's going to turn around just like that scene in Doctor Who, where the Doctor comes back out of it. That was actually symbolic. He was allegorical for this type of healing, even though they were trying to show that the world was protected by one hero. No, that was actually Valiant Thor. They were trying to hint at a little bit in there because he's kind of like the Doctor face changer, the Hobbit. It's kind of creepy, actually. But I'm just saying that was symbolic for healing. Doctor healing. He also, by unhinging the paradox machine, which was the TARDIS in that episode, he reset the timeline back to an area before the Master ever did anything. That's temporal resetting. You got to do that in your own energy too. Bring yourself to a time before any oppression took place, before those creepy thoughts entered, and enter that version into the here and now. Then go to the end, as you say, in that, and bring that to the here and now. You're always in the present. This is what they don't want you to do. That's what was symbolically being represented in that episode. But no more episode dropping. I'm just saying you can actually, as you like to say, deny the known and manifest differently.
which is real important. And I think knowledge is power. So you have to understand these, what really would be subtleties. Everybody wants to say that all this evil is so great in your face because, because of course it was only represented exactly how it was in The Exorcist. That's exactly what it looks like. No, it's actually worse because it doesn't look like that. It looks like all of these subtleties that slowly start to change you. But if you understand it and you know about it, and as everything that you've just said, how do you turn it around? And again, but who are you? Who are we? Are we a people that are just so impatient? We don't care how many others of us die to try and get something. Are you that? Is that who you are? I just keep, saying that over and over again. Why is it okay? It's not okay. And most people left to being who they are would not agree that it is okay. So please understand how all of these things are affecting you. And if you are a person who feels that you are beyond being affected, you're probably one of the first ones being affected.
Yeah, one truth that was said by some insiders also, if anything you hear, it's good. Some of them say, some say, "Oh, I'm so," people believe I'm so protected. That's not a 100% certainty because you're making it dependent on an outside or external source. Remember, it is no one's job to protect you but you. Yes, there are some self-proclaimed organizations out there that do protecting, and yes, is there buffering going on? Yes, but it's your job to audit yourself, your own space, and even though the mouth, which is the AI presence of the psionic dampening, the blah blah blah, 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 it's like that stain on the shirt that keeps talking in the Tide commercial. That thing. It's the dampening you're hearing. It is basically trying to put you down, ridicule you, and turn you into something that you're not, and get you to constantly look at it. Look at me, look at me, look at me. Don't look inward, look at me. I know it seems impossible to do given the fact that you have the psionic disruption, but if you can match or go above or further than say a Draco could, of course, or an AI could, like in the Matrix, how that you see them do the whole free mind superhero type stuff, then you are far more powerful. This is why the machines were afraid of Neo in that scenario. It's the same kind of thing. I'm not saying the Earth is a matrix. Bad. That's that they want you to co-create the transhumanistic Earth too. Even though they would, like I said in the past, it would have to be a choice when people do things. Doesn't mean if it's not for you, then that's fine, but it's for somebody else. But I'm just saying, this is another area. You have to leave people alone. When yes, do people do stupid shit? Yes. But the object of the exercise is if they are not doing the stupid shit to you and they are not putting you in danger, leave them alone. Do your thing. They do their thing. Now, if they're laying careens into yours and they're the drunk driver careening into yours because of the psionic dampening, I might add. Yes, it is a drunkard state. Then, of course, you have to defend yourself if something would break in, or if they are disrupting you majorly in some fashion. Like if they're breaking into your property, or say if somebody came in and ripped down his flags, or somebody was trying to hurt you in some way, or if somebody was doing something. I say the flags because it actually disrupts the psionic disruption. That's why they're up everywhere. That's why his intuition was saying put it up. But anyway, that's different. But if they're just doing their thing and you don't like the fact of the thing they're doing, why disrupt them? Why be that programmed individual that is disrupting and careening into their life? The idea is to live and let live, but it doesn't mean you allow evil, but it doesn't mean that you become the disruptive influence. The way that you want to be the pain in the ass like that is against the system itself. Like the transing of children, don't allow it. The child trafficking, don't allow it. The mind control, don't allow it. But it doesn't mean going after a mind controlled individual is going to help matters any, because what happens? that system would make you look like the evil bastard and you become the societal pariah. I've seen this 1,000 times where some hero comes out of the woodwork thinking they are going to be the savior of humanity. What happens? If you don't, unless you play the Batman card and do it in the background. Also, you have to be a rich philanthropist to pull this off, by the way. Except if you're doing this mentally and wanting to really change this and being that warrior in a slightly different way. What happens? What happened to him in Vegas when he wanted to go after that person at the bus stop? They were trying to set him up. This is what happens to heroes that come out in the open. They are looking for people that are trying to gaslight those that would want to stop them. Strategy is needed here. You got to be part brainiac, part axe wielding Viking. But both sides are one with the soul and the intuition. You accomplish all of this, you are actually balanced psionically. You don't allow what is going on. But say if some axe wielding Viking went into the White House, what would happen? They'd gun him down. This is what is happening psionically to people that are climbing on top of the mountain and raising the sword like Conan the Barbarian. Doesn't mean that you don't do it, but it doesn't. It means that you have to be a slightly more brilliant in your application of strategy, and also the trench work, and in your own energetics and your own being. Yes, stand up to these authorities. They're assholes. I recommend it all day long. Being the biggest pain in the ass you can. If they try to abduct you, start kicking and screaming like an idiot. And that's showing your sovereignty. That's also raising your energy. That's also making it faster moving. Yes, it doesn't mean that peace and love is going to keep your energy up. No, you can be peace and loving all you want, but if somebody has a gun and blows your brains out, you're not here to be peace and loving, are you? I'm just saying. There are other ways of applying this. I would love to see this end tomorrow. It's not realistic.
Well, thank you. So I think we've talked about this at length now, and I think we'll probably need to go ahead and come to an end. So any last words, Isaac?
This had to be said because not only activity that has been in your area, but in others, nonchalantly putting the stuff out. You know, he does his sticker thing and he does the thing with the tower busters and all this. Great. That is actually doing the work. Also doing the energy work, website, product, reads, events you guys are going to be doing, things of that nature. Perfect. Keep doing these things. Yes, you have to dance around things that you believe should not be there, and I believe should not be there. But they have to be buffered. Yes, Conan cutting Thulsa head off is the preferable, because that means that is symbolic for ending that activity. But in this case, dancing around the devil in the pale moonlight is exactly what is needed. Even though the quote was, "Would you dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?" You know what I mean. Batman reference again. But this is more, I'm saying the Batman reference because you can actually do things, meaning from the background and in the shadows, that actually scream greater volumes than if you were Conan at the top of the mountain or the top of Thulsa palace. In that, yes, you could also say that means a symbolic an action, meaning that you're showing, being an example for everyone else of what to stand up to. Yes. But this is where I'm at with this. I believe I've gone on long enough. There is some psionic disruptions. That's why there's stammering. So I will end this here. So thank you. Now, this is that's actually interesting. And as he was saying, there was psionic disruptions. You can actually hear the computer struggling right here. It seems timed wise, each time he was saying psionic disruption, the computer's making a noise. So it's actually kind of like a Geiger counter for meaning there is a strain of something being around, and also the energies are clashing, say my frequency with whatever was going on, and it's actually culminating, and you're hearing the technology strain as a result. Oh, he's saying it's constipated energetically. Okay, so yeah, I get it. We get the toilet and poop reference, Isaac. We get it, but okay. So I think this is a good place to close this. Do you have anything else?
No, I hope you find the conversation interesting. And again, really look from within and what you want. And, understand that this dampening, all of whatever is affecting everybody. And plenty of people, would maybe not be thinking in the way that they're thinking, be it military person, politicians, people who are considered whistleblowers, whatever you want to call, maybe wouldn't be quite thinking in certain ways that they're thinking now if they weren't also subjected to this.
Yes, and people that also want to say one final thing, people that have also been in the projects, they tend to think differently than the rest of it because they've been around that stuff more. It doesn't mean that they're always right. So just because they feel they've had a superior standpoint in that way because they have a broader range of knowledge does not necessarily mean they are 100% in the right either. They just means they have experience in a particular area, just like you have other people have their different experience in different areas. So, okay, I close this circle in true benevolence with no conflicting agendas as of this moment in time. So, thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Okay, here's something creepy that I didn't even know was creepy until it was happening. I was talking to a newcomer on Facebook, and this person was obviously fishing for information. I figured a D2K operator or AI. Some of as this person was talking, certain things were things were changing periodically, but I believe the person spoke English. Spoke English, but not necessarily the first language. Lived in Los Angeles, all this other stuff. Weird, creepy crap was being pumped in my head past a few days, but I was ignoring a few things. It was built up towards the eclipse and then tapered off, but it got horrible as I was posting that episode. Oh my god. Creepy feelings, that was drawing me away from here, fantasizing in my head about being around whoever this was and going camping and doing all this other stuff. Like, oh, that was horrible. Just a light. Basically, sometimes they'll take a pleasant life thing and then hijack your creativity. Draco will do this. AI will do this. Some of the Neanderthalish energies will do this, but ghosts will sometimes do this. But the bad guys, Orions in general, do this prolifically. Ugly attack, and you sometimes don't know you've been ninja'd until you know you've been ninja'd. And it got past my sensors for a little bit because it was so incremental. You had to look for the small stuff, the most mundane details speak the greatest volumes. Sometimes the good thoughts can be something that god-awful, that flips around, and it flipped over to these god-awful sexual thoughts, feelings, everything that were just like really horrid, not anything pleasant after a while. It went from pleasant to now it's gone. And Isaac and Elena Vesta found an attachment in my head. Richie did a while back for something similar, and yeah, yeah, I'm probably gonna be shaking from that one for a while. So yeah, I just want to update everybody. As I was doing the episode, it got worse. Of the World of Sasquatch, the Psyops of the Sun. That's the one I was working on. So enjoy that one. Came at a bit of a cost, though. So, creepy doesn't begin to describe this. And this goes into on the creepy thoughts episode. I will put that on the creepy thoughts episode. I think that deserves to be on that one. I will place it on there, even though I'd already edited the Psyops of the Sun, World of Sasquatch. This is the aftermath of that, kind of the price that was paid for, I guess, truth. So, here we are. It is 7:57 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday, April 8th, 2024. Thank you. Oh, even Isaac and Lane and Vessa were basically on the force paper saying they were creeped out and scared for me how deep that had gotten in. And also the person I helped in a session today, it had some things happen, but it was all pleasant stuff. But this was also for acknowledging that person I hadn't spoken to in years. I even deleted their sessions, but they had become a different person in the interim, that's why I was compelled to delete it. They came back after I deleted it because they weren't the same person anymore as I originally encountered. So it was an exchange, old self, new self. This was just creepy shit, and more of a punishment for even doing that. That was session related too, but it was mostly for the show. Creepy, very creepy. Creepy thoughts attached to the Creepy Thoughts episode. Oh, I have no way of knowing if this person that I was talking to on Facebook was innocent or not. All I know is Isaac seems to think V2K, Melanie and Vesta seem to think V2K, but more than likely through wherever that person was talking from. I don't think it was the person. I think it was. I believe this was just a younger person wanting to end up talking. I think it was just related to. I believe this was like somebody that was 15 or something like that. Creepy. So I'm just saying, yeah, creepy. This relates to that Creepy Thoughts episode perfectly. I can't say that word enough. And I don't ever want to experience this again. So, yeah. I mean, I felt certain creepy shit over the years. Some of this takes the cake. So, yeah. So, of course, 101 and 101 come up. Yeah. All right. I think I'm done. Just know that I think the person was innocent. Not sure, but I'm open to that. It was all psyops. I believe the entire thing was actually, including another meat puppet, innocent person mixed into the mix. That's usually how it is, because when they do the psyops thing and everything, some psychic kid that's involved, somebody strapped into a chair, AI reading coordinates, a name and note, and they're remote viewing, or they're used as a puppet for someone other remote viewer using their brain as like a human shield. A variety of different things get kids involved, from the trafficking, the whole bit. No. Okay. It is 8:02 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday, April 8th, 2024. Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted you to know that what this is, it's in and around you and in you and all around at the same time. When that envelops that psionic field, this belongs in the psionic war category too. It's far above and beyond babbling. It's far above and beyond dumbing or psionic dampening. This is just evil. Everything else is evil too. And that's torture. It's all torture. But this is just, it basically just tries to kill your heart space. It tries to basically kill you from within. It's like, it's basically a psionic parasite. A mental psionic parasite. And it's in you, around you at the same time. That's why your torsion field must be 100 times stronger. You can't get complacent. You gotta know what a thought that isn't yours. I was so busy paying attention to other stuff, I wasn't listening. You can't be complacent and get enveloped by whatever you're working on. I know moment of non-time if you're in your passion, obviously, but... And somebody was talking about in that session, they were in a moment of non-time passion with somebody, and I knew that was their love connection. Not going to mention any other part of their session unless they want it, but yeah, in and around you, it basically tries to kill the heart and make, and an unknowing person would think that was them, that was their own thoughts, their own feelings, their own urges, their own, yeah. It's not that. It's not you. If you have these creepy thoughts and creepy feelings, it's not you. Trust me. Well, I mean, this took me aback a bit. That's why I stammer. It's very emotionally bad. I do want to add, it was also punishment for figuring out stuff technologically. See, as I go along, as I was figuring these things out, I was rising above the junk layer and above the psionic warfare. And as a result, me being able to focus on stuff at the website, stuff on the Etsy store, all this other stuff, and getting stuff out as regular products, that was part of the punishment for getting hit with this too. Over the course of the week, oh man, badger. But badgering doesn't even begin to describe how disgusting this was. I can't babble about this enough. No pun intended. So, just know it's not you. It's not you, and it never was you. Oh, the thoughts worked off my need and want to travel, and need to want to meet new people, stuff like that. It started off with something pleasant, with this conversation as I was having, and it was just creepy after a while. even just send a message to that same person, creepy's gone. But it's weird, you know. Even Isaac and Elena Vessa warned me to steer clear of that for a day or two. You know, it travels through social media like a virus. You know the AI that gets into your head and projects it, and it was traveling along that line. You know, the one that gets in and you can even project products and stuff like that. You know, you wake up like you say. I read a comment of somebody that dreamt a model for like a sex toy or something like that in a dream, and or this model from that in a dream. He wakes up and sees the ad on Facebook for a sex toy or something, and he's like, I just dreamt about this person. That's creepy. Yes, it is, because an AI just got in your head and tried to advertise a product in dreams. Creepy, creepy, creepy. But this is the sick, twisted version of that, but with Draco included, you know, reptilian and military and all the satanic garbage, Martian, German, breaking you down kind of crap. So, this will be the last one of these for That's It. So, it is 9:16 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday, April 8th, 2024. Thank you.
Oh, there was another attack as I was posting the show tonight. The end crescendo to, again, psionically fogging, impersonating Elena and Vessa primarily, and fogs the thoughts. It happens sometimes when they're attacking, but not like this. This was really personal. They even tried to mimic the Forest People, saying they didn't actually channel in the episode all of it. It was ugly. So, got rid of something a little bit ago. Not sure what it was. Could have been the negative Tyget interference. It could have been the Draco psionic military garbage. But somebody took that episode in the conspiracy sector very personal. So, and a lot of the psionic war information personal. I mean, the Draco were known for this, but others are known for this too. So, Draco can usually make themselves look like whatever, but sometimes it's them, a lot of times it's military. I'll have to figure out who is actually doing it completely. And I was working on product too, like a mug, like one for the car, and it's a tumbler, I believe they're called. And I was working on that, and that's also why I got attacked, because I keep working on stuff, I keep going, and that's another reason they're pissed. So, as I said before. So, it is 10:24 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday, April 8th, 2024. Thank you.
Okay, this definitely falls under the creepy thoughts category. We've had attacks over the past couple of days mentally. One was from people from our past. One was simultaneously between me and Joanna. That was from, I'll bleep the name out, but maybe cover the mouth or something like that. But I have to get that out, name it in the ethers like that for the spell to vanish. Saw this person, in my scenario, it was this person's entering the house saying, okay, you've entered our space just as we're getting going here. Now you're going to ruin things for us. Get out of here, And what I didn't realize is I thought my thoughts were running away from my brain, running into a narrative, and it really was this person, him, psychically coming in to spy. This person's good at espionage for the most part. Will look for ideas they can steal, not through the butterfly effect. They blame the butterfly effect, or they channel it, but some people will look into it and check. It's not where you come up with an idea and somebody else comes up with it. Sometimes they steal it that way. They'll remote view it and steal it. That's what was going on, and Joanna said at the same time, she was entered her head too. So that was a validation. Even though sometimes it's not a validation, it's just that you're corroborating the same attack. It doesn't always mean true validation corroboration, but in this case it was. You could just tell. I mean, the energy just went poof, skyrocketed, and it was a validation. Next thing was this morning, after all of the stuff yesterday, during the eclipse, all of it. You know, when you think something's over, it is not. And I went into this dream sequence where I was with this brunette and blonde and this other guy. And I'm thinking one of them was, I'm thinking these were all Lyran types, but human-esque Lyran look. And in a cabin overlooking water. And we were off to take a trip somewhere. And which was always stupid. I figured they were pirates or something later on, but you'll know what I'm saying when I get done here. Also, we went to this other room where I'm looking up at this person on the stairwell with boxes on the stairwell, like on one side of the stairwell. Then on the narrow side, this person was there, and I pointed at the person, instructed them to come near me, and they went, "Yeah, okay," and went, "Oh, okay." Saw the person had larger eyes when they were further away in their light, and they came down in the darker hallway, and their eyes got smaller. They got close, and I started feeling more like a zombie, like I was being psionically attacked, and this person went, clue that someone is bad, just like in Diablo 2 when you run into, or Diablo 3 when you run into this one bad guy, whatever response he gives you, he goes, ha 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 ha. That's what I'm reminded of. It's like dead giveaway, it's a bad guy right there, you know, sardonic grin, you know, evil laugh, things of that nature. Cynical laugh, but anyway. And this person kept hinting at September when I was going to actually get on a plane and stuff like that. Trying to curse also our trips and implying that they were cursing our trips in some fashion. That's hence the trip before. We're on a trip, they're trying to curse it. Just like would go around and some of his words to me back then in 19 where you're never going to do better than us. And you know how I've said where sometimes people have something stick in your head? And you know it's wrong. You know it's wrong to focus on it, but yet there it is. And it's a curse that's been laid upon you. And I've had reads where people say, well, an instructor said this to me. I can't get this out of my head. It's because I tried to anchor them back to another timeline. Also, in the read I did yesterday, somebody was of their former self. They killed off their former self and became new, better, and in the present. They knew not to go back like that. Yes, remember the past. Even use information from the past, but not live in it, where that some of these beings try to get you to be. Now, this next one, I'm theorizing this, and we've cut ties with them, all of them, because of the energies that came from this, including getting rid of lifting episodes they were in. The reason I say this is because this person looked like her as more of an androgynous virgin, and I came to find out this was Khazad-dûl, the predecessor to the Lyrans that had the dragon and cat appearances. This was just, and she was royalty in that group. I wake up, energy is absolutely horrible, and Isaac is just screaming at me. Elena Bess are worried. Last night they were trying to communicate, and something attacked them, and now I get it. I'm looking around, I see this guy and this guy lady, pretty boy, girl, I had no clue at that point. Trans, we'll just say that. She always told me that she always knew who she was, but she always felt, boyish thoughts. So, but was lesbian. But anyway, I'm seeing this person in Galactic Federation uniform with the typical Star Trek-y symbol here, but had a loop around it. This denoted some of their archaeological department, I believe, medical or archaeological, or salvage. Pirate, basically, that's doing some shit on the side they shouldn't. And I got rid of this being, but then I saw this cat being on the outer periphery. This being jumped into the space wasn't prepared for all the symbols and all the protection I had up, and they get nailed. Like, bam, a brick to the face, or a punch to the face, or like they feel like they're being lobotomized or something. like lasers and whatnot, the evil eyes and stuff. And I even had an image of like an eye in my head last night. Somebody was trying to evil eye me really, really hard, but they were straining because of all the stickers and all the symbols and all the deprogramming emblems and sigils, like the Merkaba and the evil eye and all that other stuff. The Merkaba's in it, and the flags and the orgone pieces mixed. But with this, looked over, I thought it was a dog person, and it was, and then Isaac goes, "No, that's not a dog, and it's a cat lizard," and I cut its head off, and the energy restored. They were really pissed at this liquid I was making for the event, the 2024 Full Disclosure Now event in July. We're going to. That's this land clearing liquid I was making. I went back to making that in the big jug, in the bottles, the pours. And I put all the ingredients in there. I still have some more stuff to add into it. But they were angry that I was making this. The dogmen and some of the other negative cryptids that were, some of the negative dog and negative cryptids and stuff that were in Arizona were pissed that I would make this stuff all the time too. They hated it. But it worked. It has an expiration date, mind you. But it works. And now I know not to leave it as long in the jug. But they were angry that I was making this again. Very angry. Because it works well, and it's conjunction with all the symbols empowering it. I put it out during the eclipse, even though there was mostly false flag, and wanted to get some of the positive energies from it. And it worked. And it inverted code-wise, and it works well. It's brewing. So, at any rate, this is what's happened. And I have to go back and delete the episodes. I've said this in earlier recordings, but I never really got around to it. It was more like a procrastination, lazy thing. It is being taken care of as of this time of this recording. Well, not now, but I'm in the process of looking it through. So, even digital files, sometimes you have to get rid of it. It's an anchor to the past. I've had to get rid of sessions to that anchor in the same way. And if you feel, you have digital files, sessions, or anything like that that anchor to a particular time in the past that no longer applies, get rid of it. Get rid of it. I won't be offended. Get rid of it. And then we start fresh. So I'm going to leave this here. It is 8:06 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Tuesday, April 9th, 2024. Thank you. Oh, I did notice from that Facebook friend as well that saying she was entering a dream, meaning going to sleep. I was working on the stuff last night, didn't have time to talk to anybody really, and all that mental crap going on. But I found that interesting. They were trying to peg that person as the assailant, or trying to leech through that connection, which I may have to cut it if the thoughts don't completely, or the energies don't completely go away. So, and look through your Facebook stuff, look through your social media. Get rid of anything that doesn't serve there too. You're going to thank me, and you're going to thank yourself. I'm going to have to go through that purge myself. So anything that doesn't serve, block, do all that. Look for bots. Look for the AI garbage. They could leech V2K through it. Get rid of it. So it is 8:07, and you'll thank yourself later. It is 8:07 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Tuesday, April 9th, 2024. Thank you.
I mean, I know Chris can't do it because it drains the shit out of him. Do you guys want to channel for a little bit?
Yeah, they can. They can.
Okay, the gentleman that watches the channel, what's his name again?
Byron.
Byron, the Mosin soldier, right? Yeah, for the crystal, because obviously, yeah, because I'm not.
Yeah, after you do that, what you do is, like, say, either salt. Like you can run sea salt over it in the sink too if you wanted to, and just cleanse it. Yeah, see, this is the one I usually use anymore. Is this one?
Yeah.
This is a big Lemurian crystal, and you remember I had that larger oblong like one too. That one sits outside for the most part. I give that one mainly a rest since that's the one I used for years. Oh, you're saying shut up so we can do it. Okay, all right.
Okay, you wanted to discuss about what the war that happened on Draconis? Yep. Okay. Okay, you went full out scale. Okay, yeah, right. I'll shut up. Right. Right. Greetings.
Greetings.
I'm Baron. Forgive me, the communication is quite dense here on his end due to the frequencies, and some of the technology as well is causing a lot of this, let's just say, haze. But yes, I wish to go in to talk about the Draconian Wars that my people and other races too did assist to remove this more. We'd say it was an ongoing threat, even if it was pushed away on aspects of the galaxy and the universe. It was still a receding evil that needed to be destroyed. Does the Empire still exist in some aspects? Yes, but nowhere near to the extent. Their numbers have declined massively. A lot of them now have retreated to different places across the universe looking for other help, or they wish to be redeemed. But then this was due to the Galactic Federation treaties, air quotes. We do believe that these beings cannot be redeemed, but this is only time will tell. But for now, yes, you were right. You're seeing what you'd see as the residual leftover, the scraps, so to speak, on the floor. That yes, we are wishing to clean up because it could turn to something much worse. It could stagnate and become. It could cause a lot of problems for a lot of people. The aquatic ones you're seeing are a descendant of Atlantis. They were also seeded here as well from another planet a long time ago. Their race was once in you would say, during a time period of history's evolutionary evolved during the sea creatures. You would call it the Draconian period?
Okay. Yes, I understand.
Draconian period during the armored fish stages. Yes, this was an experimental time where creatures were, let's just say, of a burden nature. They grew too large, too consumptuous, and unfortunately, life couldn't progress. This was during very experimental times, and it gave birth to these creatures, which actually they were left in stasis for an extremely long time. We just did not know that. We did believe that these aquatic draconian or reptoids were once extinct, but recent years have revealed them to. But unfortunately, due to all the other conflict going on above, they've been allowed to migrate and expand quite rapidly. Though, like we said, they are scraps, but it could escalate into something much worse. Is there anything you wish to offer, Chris?
Also, I've noticed an uprising in Neanderthal activity as well on their end, the ghoul activity. They seem to be, I don't know if they were in stasis themselves too, but they've come about fairly virulently as well.
Yes, they were kept hidden. You could say, like animals, they were kept in a cage until when they were released. You came across them a long time ago. We say long ago, but a couple of years back. But this was their like imprisonment or their reality bubble, and now they are being released into the world, unfortunately, and they are quite difficult to get rid of. They're difficult. They're a bit more difficult than the Draco because they tend to tend to use layers to attack their prey, or they're not as direct or as blunt as the Draco are. Believe it or not, I myself have had issues with these beings. But they're not indestructible, of course. They do have weaknesses. The ghoul but there is more ghoulish activity around in Europe now, because that's where the Neanderthals were once prevalent at one point in life. They were used as more as these like slave creatures, these human genetics that went wrong. People seem to think these were an evolutionary descendant of people or the kin of humans. No, they're anything but that. They were more like you'd put them in the giant category of the trolls.
Yeah, and I had a synchronicity myself with them having had an expression in the time frame of that. It was a past life, so that's how that came about. So I knew how to get rid of them. So that came in real handy. There's also some activity that's been happening around us that has been putting this really deep, dark, creepy thoughts surrounding kids into my head recently. What is the source of that?
This is you would call it this is a grid that's linked into the Earth. It is hard to find. Unfortunately, we are other good galactics and beings are trying to find the source because it's also affecting them. It's to do with this. It's also creating this psionic wave as well. Any leftover, let's just say, skeletons in the closet that need to be removed, it's going to activate them. So it could even be past life stuff as well. Because it's not just necessarily an alter in someone like this one here experienced. It could be it could be a memory, an SSP memory. And can it be rectified? Yes, the immunity can be built. Immunity can be built around it, definitely, without question. Just at the moment, it's quite difficult because of all the distractions going on, plus the vermin coming out of the sewers.
Yeah, it has been difficult to manage, and they've also centered in on Joanna's grandson too, which I've been trying to avoid this whole time. But they've gotten their minor sights on him. I just don't want that disrupted.
He has got a more of a stronger immunity than we have. Meaning more this one here and you.
Mm-hmm.
If it would have happened to him at a later stage in life, it may have affected him worse, a lot worse. But for the meantime, he won't be affected as bad as they want you to think. They want you to create something that would cause it to get worse.
Mm. Okay.
This is their intention.
What is the antigen for some of the poisons they're dropping from the sky? Is there an antidote?
Yes, but the knowledge in this one's brain isn't very broad on that aspect. So, we would advise looking up certain books on this. There is information on there.
Okay.
How to avoid it. We will try to inform this one to be educated more on this, even though he chooses to be a little bit annoying and ignorant at some points. But
well, I was at that stage too. I had to build up my knowledge of quantum and multiversal physics to even understand a third of this material. So it does come in time. So yeah, I'm confident he'll be able to do that.
We hope so too. We also hope that he focuses more on what he wants instead of focusing on the outside world and his politics. He tends to do this quite a lot. Tends to get very angry at a lot of things in the politics, but in time, I do believe this one will overcome it, and many others like yourselves will. But these are distractions. We have to remember that.
Mm-hmm. And what I keep picking up on something in the timelines converging on something not necessarily just political, but overall experience with humanity. It's not any form of contact. It kind of is form of contact, but I'm picking up something vaguely in the timelines that would disrupt a lot. I'm not sure what that is exactly.
It's a mixture. It's also that's to do with the human residents going around at the moment. As you're hearing the nuclear war at the front door, pardon the rhyme,
Mm-hmm.
this is what's happening right now. and the bad ones, unfortunately, are using that to their advantage. But we will make sure that this never happens, because this will not benefit anyone at all. And no, I don't know why psychics, or even other psychic mediums out there, are putting this notion nuclear war will happen. We think the idea of it is absurd. Do you want people to die? No.
Yeah, people focus too much on the wrong timeline. Yeah, I get irritated personally with that. That's where I get pissed off at. But I try not to, but that's where I tend to focus on too sometimes.
Again, that like this one falls into it's a distraction with his politics and a certain ideology that's being pushed around in his country at the moment.
When do you see a close to that distraction? When do you think that would be relatively?
It's hard to say. It's a very murky timeline at the moment, but we are seeing a good timeline, though. That's a higher probability, because I think deep down this is what people want. Of course, naturally, people want peace and prosperity, but unfortunately, there's a lot of fear going around. As to specifically when it's going to get better, we cannot say. This is hard. But we will intercept to stop any further, let's just say, disaster timelines that occur.
Like the fake alien invasion narrative that's going around quite prolifically. Yeah.
Yes, nonsense. The ones, they're already here. There's no such thing as they're coming.
Exactly. What I hate to take up Richie's energy here, but what is, if anything, in the timelines? I've been seeing also something around the converging around the 2030s, between the 2030s and the 2050s, that would drastically change society. I'm not sure what this is exactly.
It's a mixture of things. Certain ideology, fanatic faiths that are conflicting with each other. You said it could be it. You both mentioned this was to do with the whole Enlil battle, and yes, it seems like there is good aspects to both sides, and we do feel there will be more peace, but there is going to be those that are more inclined to that control, that want to increase this their religion's better than others, or my religion's better than yours, sort of thing. And this is an if, though, we're seeing. This is not a confirmed timeline. We are picking up. This is a very very sort of an anonymous timeline. It can go two ways. It could either be a timeline where people will become more mellowed out and religion would just slowly proceed in the background as normal, normal, we say that as it usually does. But secularism will be what will continue in their society, or it will become two religious fanatics at each other's throats.
Let's see. Yeah, that's kind of what I've been picking up on. I've been also seeing things out in, like, say, California, for instance, where California becomes totally agrarian at some point, and where out here in Virginia Beach it becomes more business-like at some point. I don't know which timeline variances I'm seeing this from, but it's all peaceful. It's just that I'm seeing variances back and forth from other timelines that have been interfering with us too. There's been a couple of other universes that have interfered with us too, when their universe gets close to ours. I've noticed as well.
Absolutely, yes. You were also guided to some of these religious figures earlier, who do in fact have a massive part in this. What's happening right now? They may seem like just certain pastors or scholars of their own kind, but they are contributing something quite dangerous, believe it or not. This one here doesn't believe that the Christian faith has much power anymore, but it's kind of, unfortunately, it does. The darker side of it does, massively. But we're confident in the future that this will become not necessarily like purely liberal secularism of a certain faith, but more just it's in the background.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Or there'll be unorthodox religions that'll be happening soon, which will work in the long run.
Yeah, I see. I see your point. It would be more of a safer kind of dumbed down version of it. Yeah, I've seen that myself. There is one personal question I have. What is me and Joanna have been trying for years to get really started what we're working on, what we're doing. And I know the distractions are from the bad guys, and we're trying to really manifest and co-create properly, but we just keep hitting brick walls. In some areas it works its way through, but other areas it just is like a brick wall to the face. I'm actually not sure how to proceed in certain areas.
How to proceed? It depends on, like you said, where you start from. It's hard to really say. It's almost like when a car sets off on when you set off on a journey, what path do you take at the moment? But you have to take that journey in order to do it, in order to give you guidance. There is good paths on this, yes, definitely, without question, but this is up to you.
Yeah, because we've been trying all other business aspects and stuff like that. We wanted Joanna to get out of her work, all that other stuff, but it seems to just get convoluted, and we haven't. We've been trying to fix that.
Removing Joanna from her job was the bad ones. These were the ones trying to make you financially worse off. And this is exactly what happened to this one here. He was trying to, when he was pursuing his art career, they were trying to take him away from more of the money side of it. And in the long run, this would have been, he would have been in his heart space, but he would have still been suffering quite badly, and thus would have caused more depression in his life. Sometimes things don't always unfold the way you want them to. Definitely, that's life. Even for us as well, we don't, as much as we would love to be around people again, but we can't because of what's happening.
No,
this makes sense to me.
Yes, I do understand it. The timelines keep shifting rapidly, and what once worked seems to shift towards like we got a conference we're going to in July. It's opened up in that area, but I'm not sure how it's going to proceed after that.
Just always expect the unexpected. Be prepared for anything. Not saying co-create that, just be prepared, but also keep a positive mindset on what you want. Yes?
Yes, I agree. Yes.
But also just, don't, if something does happen, it may not always be your own fault, but be prepared for it anyway. But we will be there if you need assistance, of course. If the overage happens.
Yes. Thank you for that. I do appreciate your assistance.
You're welcome.
I don't really have any other questions. That's really all I have at the moment, Byron. Thank you.
You're very welcome, man. It's good talking to you.
Yeah, it's good talking to you as well.
Now I'll bring him back.
Okay. Dang. Yeah, you did pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did pretty good there. You went on for about 20 minutes or so. Yeah.
Wow. I don't feel crap as well, so that's good.
Yeah, it's because you've improved since you went through that transformation. You were able to hold that longer, and the crystal being there carried some of that as well. So
I think this helped majorly as well.
Because it holds the load, kind of like a basically kind of like how if you had like current going through like an alternator or something like that. It's kind of like that, where it shifts the current around. That's essentially what it's doing.
So what was he talking about? I sort of vaguely
about
heard
the war with the Draco going. Well, their empire got scattered, and they shifted to other parts of the galaxy as a result. They're not cohesive anymore. They said that the water Draco, the ones that were in the ocean, were created a long time ago. They thought they were extinct, but now they were in stasis and they were let out. Kind of like a demon being let out of a cabinet. You know, sometimes the programs will open a cabinet, let ghouls and demons out. So, it's like that, and they're the aquatic ones are a pain in the ass. So they were from the Atlantean period of like experimentation and such.
Yeah, you showed me armored fish. What period is that from? The Draconian? Is that from the Draconian period? I can't remember the name of it. The
pre-Atlantis.
It was during the armored fish period where the fishes were like these monstrous creatures. They're horrible.
Oh yeah, that was oh god, that wasn't the Jurassic or Paleolithic. This
predates the dinosaurs.
Yeah, the walking fish period. Yeah, that's that period. They must have had their DNA tinkered with at that time. And they're
just showing me like a giant. They're showing me like these horrible looking fish that are all covered in armor, and they look more like robots than they do actual organic creatures. So
yeah, there's some of the more likely robotic components to that, but these were an earlier, like pre-Draco concoction, and then during the Atlantean period they brought them in again, and then they went into stasis until now, and they brought them in again. So yeah, that actually makes sense. I always seem to forget about them. Yeah,
because they can wipe your mind. They have a way of wiping your mind as well. Because they're very. What's that? They use technology. They got technology as well.
I'm thinking those are also some of the squid-like ones that I've been seeing as well.
Some have that. Somehow, yeah, some of that. That there is they're not related to them. They're more their own thing. They're on the shitometer, yeah, of course.
They're on the what?
They're on the shitometer.
The shitometer. I thought I was dealing with two different species there. Yeah.
Yeah. They're not. They're really nasty. These squid ones. Fucking hell! I've had real nasty experiences with them. What are they using to get? Okay, just say telepathic. Yeah, influence on people. Yeah. So you forget about them.
Psionic. Yeah.
Because that if you remember that one, remember that show One Punch Man? That was pretty much what one of them looked like. They have that sort of really creepy fucking persona to them. That trans aspect to them as well.
Yeah, yes. Like they were neither gender kind of thing. Yeah, that's gross. Yeah.
And they're fucking creepy, and they're really fucking creepy. That's what they are.
Yeah, and I heard Byron say, "Damn right." You know, so some of the Mozen went, "Yeah, they're creepy." Yeah,
that's why all that trans stuff's going off mad. That's them doing this, that rainbow stuff.
Yeah, even influence too, because they're genderless as well. So it, yeah, okay. That's okay. I was told also that would not necessarily take off. It would fizzle out after a while. It would reach a crescendo and then kind of balance out, fizzle out, because it would be not accepted by humanity. So it would fizzle out after a while.
One of the good things is being a Muslim state. They've said no. They're not allowing it. They said no, which is good.
That was the good side. That was the good side to those fanatics. They actually nailed some of the correct things. So yeah,
because they didn't want their kids. Because literally, they were showing the kids how the genitals got removed. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like Isaac, I don't need the image. Thank you. All right.
Drag queen shit. That's what they reminded me of. The drag queens sort of thing.
They found that funny when you said drag queen because and not all of that, you know, and Ryan and I were talking about, not all of that community is bad. It's just that they've taken this fanatical arm and just added this to it, and it's just like he said there was like the like with trans, the real percentage of real trans is like this much, and like from past life dimensional type stuff, which is where the natural form of it comes from, and then you have this fanatical arm that's just attached to the LGBTQ community, and then they've just completely dominated it. And it's like, Yeah.
That show, Gravity Falls, that does teach. That is really good. That's got like a. That's also got like a fake heaven aspect in it as well, because we're at the end, the main villain, he traps one of the characters in this LGBTQ like world
Hmm.
in a sphere though.
That's funny. Oh, that's interesting. How okay, like in like a holographic type prison or something. Yeah,
Because
that's interesting.
I found out biblical. You know the real angels, what they actually look like, the biblical ones. They're like
Uh,
these spheres, aren't they?
yes, but there's also there's also these winged reptiles too. Like the seraphim. Like that's called giant lizard. Seraphim, big lizard or giant lizard. Serpent essentially. But
But
the
I know
spheres,
that's
yes, yeah.
they're the harvesters, I believe, they're depicting in that.
Yeah, yeah, and then of course it's the Orion Greys also that are in the spheres too. So yeah, uh, but
So
yeah,
yeah, so it's kind of accurate what they're talking about when they're saying stuff about because everyone says to me, "Oh, what does this is what angels actually look like? What the Bible actually depicts them as these giant, like massive spears of 8 wings and eyes coming out." And I'm like, what the fuck?
oh yeah, and also
Yeah,
there was this old worldview called the Aristotelian worldview, where people thought that spheres were the keys to get to heaven. And at first, people thought they were referring to stars, and no, it was the soul trap shit is what was being referred to.
yeah,
Uh, now the well, what it is, it's like almost like a Wi-Fi signal that creates the tunnel, and people get lured into the light, and it's this little pinpoint prick like a Wi-Fi like upload type of deal. And other pirates will try to hack that signal and try to steal
hmm
souls from that tunnel too, and try to grab them just for their own biospheres, for their own soul trade. There's pirates that try to hack that, and but I found out that some of those spheres aren't as many now. They're now you have the psionic dampeners that are spheroid shaped too, um, that are inside satellites and everything, but they're dipped into the atmosphere and they're dampening the. I love it when somebody shoots something down sometimes and it drops in their backyard and it's like a piece of one of these things, something but like somebody like the Mosen or something shoots something down and just drop,
yeah.
but yeah.
Show me what else. Okay, all right. What's his name? Aaron. Aaron. Aaron.
Byron is his name. Byron. Yeah.
Byron. You showed me something about you wanted to pick more of the war. The sense there's going to be more like depictions of the war in the media. Yes,
Depictions of the what?
depictions of the Draconian Wars.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah,
media.
of course. Yeah, you're going to see that's what the creator of Dragon Ball Z was doing when he died. So I believe. So
Because he was also Dragon because Akira Toriyama. He was also depicting you as well, Mozen. Yes,
most definitely. Yeah. Oh, showing the heroes winning the fight. See, and some of the bad guys didn't want that. So yeah.
because I know Trunks. He was Mozen. Yes,
Yes. Most definitely. Yes.
he was more the Mozen category. Because he didn't. Because I know Goku was a mixture though. He had a mixture of like forest person. And what else did he have in him? There was also a Palladian in him. I found out.
Yeah,
He was
like a
shouting, "One
Nordic.
good one."
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Cat being as well. You're saying, yeah, Liren.
Yeah, they were
That's
depicting a lot of those different mixes. Yeah.
It explains like the long hair and everything. Yeah,
He had like that purple hair. Yeah. Like a mane. Yeah.
yeah.
That explains the hair. Yeah. Yeah.
Super Saiyan 3 thing. Yeah, that explains. That's Liren.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Uh,
Super Saiyan is Liren and also Dogman too, kind of the werewolf-esque type of thing too. Yeah. And also monkey, like the monkey people type of thing. Yeah, too.
Force
So
people, yeah, the
force
Sasquatch.
people,
But
yeah.
yeah, I know Trunks. So Trunks was one of your people. Yeah, he was because he even looks like you because he has the whole sword aspect. Yeah,
The
that's
sword,
more the
yeah.
knight aspect. Yeah, the Witcher knight kind of aspect. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's it. Yeah. So you nailed it. Yeah. No, that's interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So that is very interesting though. So, but they're saying they're going to depict more of just the Mosen soldiers going after them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's good though. They said they're gonna. They said that what they're gonna do. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they always do what they say they're going to do. So that's good. Yeah. Mm.
He just says for now we're sort of taking care of other garbage on the planet. Yeah,
Taking out the garbage. Yeah, I heard
yeah.
that. Yeah, taking out the garbage. Oh, so
They would like to
that's
say
fun.
they would like to go. They would like to go after the Orions, but that's too dangerous.
Oh yeah, like the Ryan Grays and everything, but they have powerful ships and stuff like that. So yeah, no,
It said maybe they said probably in time we will go after them. So they've had it coming for a long time. Yeah,
those guys are aggressive. You get an Orion Gray, and they're that weird. They have that grayish, like black cow patch, like kind of look to them. Those guys are mean as shit. I've gone after them before. So,
if you guys would go after them, that'd be great.
oh yeah, if I spot one, they lose their head immediately. So,
Yeah,
that's
because I
like
mean,
a
if they
shoot
actually
to kill.
if they went after, if they warred with them, they destroyed some of their ranks. That'd be great. Stuff like
Oh
this
yeah,
shit.
I think they can't right now because some of the treaties don't favor it either. So,
Yeah, so maybe in the future they might, sort of thing. They would like to.
oh yeah, you take away their resources. You know, those Greys need to utilize all these other sources because they can't always do it. So if you take away their resources, they they don't have the resources to fight that much. So yeah,
Yeah, absolutely, because this all happened back in the because it was going around back in the 40s and the 50s, the whole Roswell thing. Because they were going
that
after
was the
your people.
Martian Germans that did that. That was when they were trying to get to Mars and the Moon and such, and they had the portal technology. They were trying to do something that shredded the
Spellcraft,
craft
yeah.
over the desert. Yeah, that's Martian German, just like the UFOs over the Capitol. That's Martian German right there. From what I understand,
Yeah,
Valiant Thor was integrated into this quite a bit too, where he started the whole 100 years disclosure narrative and everything too. So that
because Area 51, that is a smokescreen. It's not the real place. No,
no, not anymore. No, it used to be, but it became too inconspicuous. It's not inconspicuous so enough. So they even
it
said
still
that in the show
exists.
X Files too. Years ago, they said, "Oh, well, you want to take it to our place in Nevada?" No, it's not inconspicuous. They even used that line. So it was
Yeah,
like, so yeah. Mm,
yeah, but they said they won't because they went after their people, a lot of the Greys. Yeah, they
hmm
attacked. Yeah, the Orions attacked you a lot. So yeah, imagine what you would.
yes. Yeah, those little shits, those are different than the Zeta Grays. The Zeta Grays, those little scrotum, very different than this other batch. This other batch is mean as shit. And
They're the ones that
they're
brainwash the Darshin and all that. Yeah,
yeah. hmm They're the bigger
but you know,
oppressors of
yeah, but a lot of the Darshin now have become good. They are turning. They have turned sides again.
yes, they are. They're starting to come back, snap out of it. Yeah, they are.
Because I think
That's what Elena Vesta said too. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
hmm
because at one point they were really bad at one fucking point. Sad to say, but a lot of them have because a lot of them I know did return to their home planet. They weren't because they were getting hunted down.
Yeah, yeah. And there's from what Elena Vesta told me, the descendant lineages of some of the people that came from there in that Exodus are all here. They're technically they're in the Interverse essentially here, the world within Earth. So or on Midgard here. So a majority of them are here. Then there's some that go back and forth between the home world and here too.
But they're
But
being.
they're
You're saying they're
descendant
being
lineage.
hunted. Why are they being hunted though? He's telling me that they're being hunted.
Yeah. Why are they still being hunted? That happened so long ago that even the original progenitors of that particular conflict and war don't remember why they were doing it. Uh, they were meat puppets to Orion and Draconian interests, but they don't remember why. Like how you have ancient fights that go on the Earth, like a Jew and Arab type of things. They don't even remember why they hate each other. It's the same thing. So the memory's gone as to what started it. So there's no point continuing. So yeah. But that's some of the hunters. They just keep doing it because it's one of those. This is the way it's been done around here, kind of thing. Always been done around here. It's kind of like that, is what it is. But a majority of them are not doing it, but there still are Darshinian hunting like groups, like Nazi-like ones, that aligned with Martian German interests, you're saying? Okay. But the majority of them aren't doing that anymore. Yeah. Okay.
No, the majority of them turn good. Well, the thing is, the majority of them are still of the Dalshin are still getting hunted. They're being tracked by other beings.
Uh-huh.
That's what I'm talking about. A lot of them are being. He's saying a lot of the Dalshin are being hunted down.
Oh, by other beings. Okay. I mean, some beings that maybe they pissed off in the past or something like that.
Yeah, probably because they switched sides. Or they broke the yield. They didn't.
You're right. Yeah, they well also when they were with Hitler and everything, they broke some of the yield too. So
they saw how dark the Nazis were, and they realized, oh shit, this is a mistake. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and because they became the Martian Germans after a while, and they're not they're very difficult to navigate around. So
so and also it's also like they've also failed the Orions to carry out their agenda.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, and I know that the Martian Germans still serve some of these forces, but it's things are starting to change on that front too. From what I understand, some of them actually want to not be the breakaway civilization anymore. They want to rejoin us. From what I understand.
Yeah.
Then you have Valiant Thor on the other side, who's doing the slow drip changing stuff here as well. But sometimes his agenda is slightly off because he wants to. Oh, okay.
Sorry, Valiant Thor.
Yeah, Valiant Thor. From what I understand, he's trying to get Earth integrated into the Galactic Federation, but his own way. And then there's also these other races that want to join us that are not part of the GF as well. They want to actually join in with us in the end. So there's several agendas going on, but Valiant Thor's was to be at least trading with the Galactic Federation at some point. I don't like the Galactic Federation; they're too fascist. But it's but the Mozen have had to dance around them too, because their homeworld's integrated into the GF too. So loosely,
not anymore. He said.
Oh, loosely, he said, trade agreements, and Cassiopeia created their own little federation that trades, is what you're saying. Yeah, got it. Okay. Oh, all right.
He's saying what? Well, after the destruction of the Draco, they said it's they can do their own thing now more.
Okay, that makes sense, but still they have to dance around GF like treaty lines and all that other crapola.
He said. He's saying that the Draco haven't completely gone, though. He just said a lot of them have integrated somewhere else. But Draconis, for the most part, is an empty galaxy. You wouldn't really find them there anymore.
Yeah, it's basically somebody else could claim it if they wanted to. Yeah. Or it's in a what? Neutral zone? Oh yeah, I mean, found out about these neutral zones where there's just some old war areas that it's like the Romulans and Federation in Star Trek Next Generation and whatnot, where they won't cross into a neutral zone, and in one of those neutral zones is Draconis, so it's in there somewhere. I get it.
You may have heard Byron mentioning the Earth network or Earth grid, in his channeling about what the psionic disruptions and everything. It's the as above, so below. You have the moon. The psionic resonators and dampeners in space going through some from Saturn, but you got it around ordinate orbit, through the satellites, down through the 5G network, down through the binary network. That's the binary network he was referring to, through the Unisphere and other antennas, just like you see in They Live, with Roddy Piper destroys that antenna at the end, and it was downloading the mind controllers in that. That's what that is, but it's also the fiber optic network, like your Verizon Fios and any other type of network. You have the fiber optics. That was an alien back-engineered program. You got all that in there. So that's essentially what he was referring to. So they're glad that I can comprehend these things, so I can actually relay all of this to you now. That Richie was having some difficulty still a little with, but that's over time. You gain that knowledge over time. like interactions with Torankal, interactions with any other beings over time during channeling, you start to comprehend the physics and quantum mechanics and temporal mechanics involved, multiversal and omniversal, super omniversal physics. Involved, like if they come through and they understand these things, they need somebody to relate that also understands these things. So that's some of the best parts of this is that. So it is, and the interactions, of course, but still. It is 2:21 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday, April 22nd, 2024. Thank you.